Well, hello, good day, and good afternoon. This is Sharon from Queenettes and All Counters, Heart of Worship Ministry, which is the Obadari Ministries. Now, this is Sharon speaking. I've decided to make today a sweet, as in a chocolate cake, because I'm having the family over today for dinner. So I decided to make a very delicious, classic chocolate cake. Now, what I've done here today is I've added 1 packet of chocolate powder. This is from the packet, which is I will be showing it very soon to each and every one of you around the globe. 1 packet of chocolate powder. Now, into this blender, I've added 1 tablespoon of low salt margarine, which is non-salted margarine. And into this I'll be adding now 1 cup of milk. Now that is the chocolate powder. There are 2 eggs in it, 2 eggs. That's for the moist, for the cake. And the non-salted margarine. So that's a 1 tablespoon of non-salted margarine. And 1 cup of full cream milk. Now, when you're making a chocolate cake, there are cakes which are light cakes, but when you want the full growth of a chocolate cake and the richness of a chocolate cake, you've got to go with the whole hog. Meaning you can't cut corners, you got to go the whole hog. And you don't eat this all the time, you only eat this once in a way, just to have a sweet in your mouth. So now that the family is coming over today, this is why I decided to make this rich chocolate cake. So I'm going to be adding 1 cup of milk. Watch me as I go and listen attentively, please. So now what I will do is, let's put that aside. And I'm going to be mixing the cake in the blender today. I'm not doing it manually today. I'm doing it in the blender because I've got a lot of cooking to do. So I've got the blender here. As I said, when you're working in the kitchen, you have to be very, very wise with everything, because then you cannot take your eyes off the equipment that you are dealing with. Now that is what's in there. That's a chocolate powder, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of non-salted margarine. Remember the word non-salted margarine. And 1 cup of milk. There's nothing else you need to put into this, because the chocolate powder has it all in the powder, so you don't put nothing else. And then what you do is you put it into the blender and lock the blender up. So I wonder whether y'all can see me. That is the blender. Excuse me for a second, because I need to switch the blender on now. Now that's all you have to do. So I'm going to unlock the blender now, because to be very, very careful and very wise when you're dealing with kitchen utensils. So you just got to unlock it and you turn it very, very gentle. Now that's the chocolate liquid, the classic chocolate liquid. It only takes like a second. When you put it in the blender, it only takes like a second, nothing more than a second, I would say. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the blender, and then I'm going to be adding it into a glass dish, which is going into the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes to bake. So now you got to regulate your oven to 180 degrees. 180 degrees. You pre-warm your oven to 180 degrees, and then you put the cake in for baking for 35 minutes. 35 minutes. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to unscrew the blender. You got to let the pressure out of the blender first before you go and unlock the whole thing completely, because there's a lot of pressure in a blender. So you got to be very wise when you're working in the kitchen. And there we go. So now it's unlocked, and that is the liquid. Watch me as I go. And that's how, see how delicious it looks. Delicious. Yummy. So that's the entire blender of chocolate, classic chocolate. It's classic chocolate. It's very, very rich. Very, very rich. So you get everything out of the blender. Put that aside, and there you go. That's the classic chocolate cake mixture. So I'm going to just lay it on the table. Now it's one, I will repeat myself again, one packet of classic chocolate cake powder. One packet. 2 eggs, 2 whole eggs. 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. 1 tablespoon. And 1 cup of milk. 1 cup of milk. So you put all that into your blender. You can either do it manually or you can do it in your blender, whichever the way you like and you prefer to do it, or maybe even in your cake mixture. So you can do it any way you prefer to do it, but I do it in the blender because it's quick and because I've got a lot of cooking to do today. So this is the reason I'm taking, how would I say, the little easy way out, so to speak. So now give me a second, please. I'll be back. Now you preheat the oven to 170 degrees. Now I've actually increased it to 180, and you bake it. You bake it for 35 minutes in the oven. 35 minutes. And then what you do is, and you take it out. Well, hi everybody once again globally. This is Sharon. Now the second step to the classic chocolate cake is the icing. So that's chocolate icing that's inside the blender. Now I'm going to blend this one as well, because this one has to go, as you know, you got to ice the cake. So I'm going to turn that around and I'll lock it back again into the blender. Excuse me. So there we go. Just a second as well for the icing. And once, now let me unlock the blender. Now that is the icing that's inside the blender. So now I've got to scoop this out of the blender and add this onto the cake. All right. Let's see how this video is. Came out really well.